A thank you to Dice Electronic Arts for sponsoring my trip to a galaxy far, far away, sending me out to Sweden to go hands-on with a new Star Wars Battlefront II beta. All the maps and modes, all the goodies, the customization available in the beta. And you probably asking yourself two questions. What is this? Well, it's a new game mode where we need to attack Maz's castle, get the artifact, and actually get it out. There's an interesting twist to this as you actually flip where your spawns are. And when the beta starts, well, there's 2 dates. If you believe in pre-ordering, if you're a huge fan of Star Wars, if you like what you've seen so far for Star Wars Battlefront 2, from the footage at EA Play or Gamescom or anything else that's leaked on the internet, that date, if you did pre-order, is October 4th. Now, if you want to keep the money in your wallet, if things are a little tight, if you don't believe in pre-ordering, that date for you is October 6th. Now, as of right now, per Electronic Arts and DICE, the beta is to run through October 9th. But maybe, just maybe, like other betas that DICE and EA have done previously, they might extend it a day or so. So regardless if you get in on the 4th or the 6th, you have unlimited play. And again, there are multiple modes, there are multiple maps, and some of the customization is available. You could use some of the points that you acquire to, of course, unlock some of the customizations available for the weapons. Maybe it helps you handle recoil a little bit better. Maybe it adds explosive shot to your weapon. And, of course, all the star cards that are available in the beta. Remember, those are tiered. There are 4 tiers of star cards. So let's say you increase for your assault player, which I'm playing now, how long he can go on his shotgun run for. There's a star card for that. And it can vary in a couple seconds from the base card all the way up to the most rare card. That's something that DICE may tweak in the future. Of course, the balance of these star cards, but right now, the colors of them. Platinum's the highest one. They might go towards something like you see in other games when it comes to legendaries and epics with a more decisive color scheme. So there you see a little bit of a combat roll, a nice little change in Star Wars Battlefront, because you can combat roll in any direction. But also, there's a small delay when you come out of that combat roll before you can fire again. So you can use it to get from cover to cover, maybe get into cover, maybe show somebody a different angle or re-peek a different spot. You can get pretty creative with it, and you can link them. There is no cooldown. There's just a cooldown when you shoot. And here you can see me popping my shotgun ability. There's a little timer right next to my crosshair. And depending on how I equip my player, there you see a combat roll with a little bit of a delay. That's about all it is. Depending on how I equip my player, I can refresh that, my shotgun ability, if I land a kill. And I also believe there are ways to get life back if I make kills as well. So the assault class may be a bit squishy at 150 hit points if there's no officer around. It can lay down the law, especially if you get a back rage or side rage going. One thing about the officer that we talked about when it came to DICE and the developers is he seems a bit squishy. He can buff everybody, but he can't heal himself. So a lot of times you may drop your turret or one of the officer's other abilities, and you're stuck sitting back because you're waiting for your auto health regen to kick in. So that might be something that gets tweaked as well. The officer can be extremely helpful because that heal and buff is massive, especially when you talk about some of the classes with more health, whether it is one of the battle point obtained heroes, if you will, or special soldiers, or of course if it's a bunch of heavy assaults about to go through an open door with their shields open. Maz's castle has multiple points in, but this is one of the first rounds that we played, so we're just kind of learning that. You can't go through the front. If you have a jump pack, you can go through the top, and there are multiple ways out. The second that you grab the artifact, it actually switches your spawn. So where we were spawning back in the woods, we're actually going to spawn closer. Because in Battlefront 2, unfortunately, one of the drawbacks is there is no squad spawning. This is something that we've complained to the devs about multiple times, and it's something that you might see get added into the game, but no confirmation on that just yet. So you actually spawn in waves. So no matter how well you're doing or position a squad member may have, you can't utilize that. There is no revive. You just have to wait for that spawn, along with everybody else who's perished. Now, Maz's castle can be quite a bit tricky if you don't clear up this top side, you can get shot in the back as you're trying to run the artifact to a ship that's going to get you off the planet. Now, a couple of these games were extremely short. Crazy short. As in less than 3 minutes, because the attackers got the artifact, they wiped our single push in the air. You can see the delivery push in the background, and trying to kill an AFK guy can be challenging sometimes. And they got the artifact out within a couple minutes. If you want to rack up the battle points, it's all about the objective. Just like any other game that EA or DICE puts on, play the objective, get rewarded. Playing near the artifact is massive for getting those battle points. On defense, when the artifact gets dropped, there's a cooldown. And you can see it there. It's alerting me, hey, go pick this thing up. Defenders see it as something they need to defend. And if you stay within a certain radius, there's a pretty beefy tick. So if you want to get some sort of upgrade, most certainly play that objective. Number one, it's going to help your team win. Number two, it's going to get you more battle points and sicker upgrades faster. Now let's talk about another positive thing for Star Wars Battlefront II compared to the first and other DICE shooters, and that's their monetization plans. For those of you who do not know, there is no premium for Star Wars Battlefront II. All the content that will be introduced is available to everybody and absolutely free to play. New maps, modes, heroes, and one-off ideas that you might see in Star Wars Battlefront 2 that you never thought was possible. There's going to be a lot of DLC. Now, it might not be as crazy as getting 3 or 4 maps at one time or planets compared to other DICE shooters or Battlefront 1, but there should be a steady stream of content. This is good for multiple reasons. DICE's previous formula with EA was, all right, bring out a DLC, charge $15 or $50 to get premium, get all the DLC for free, but it would break up the community. Yes, it'd bring a lot of people back for the first couple of days, but after a week or so, player counts would plummet again. People playing the base game wouldn't be as many. People playing the hot new DLC, and it would really split that community. Then the next DLC would hit. It was rinse and repeat. People would come back, they'd play the hot new DLC. They weren't playing the other DLC as much, and people still stuck only with base game because they don't think the value's there. Maybe they don't have the money, or they're just not that interested. But now, whenever anything new drops, you might see massive player counts that help sustain the game a bit longer. Not to mention all the other changes that Star Wars Battlefront 2 has made, including a campaign, split screen, arcade mode, all this other stuff that you can actually do in the game with the weapon customization, the star cards, the class system, and a bunch of other changes that were made. Now, there is monetization, and I'm okay with this. You can buy crates or boxes. They do have star cards, they do have abilities in them, but to me, that's the lesser of two evils because all of that is available via grinding in-game. Another change I like with Star Wars Battlefront 2 is the introduction of the class system, whether it's an assault with 150 health that can absolutely wreck people if they get behind you, the heavy with quite a bit more health, a heavy blaster, and of course shield, the specialist, which is the sniper, who has multiple different abilities, including a pretty nasty offensive ability or defensive ability, depending on how you use it, and the interaction of the officer, who's going to heal you and buff you, overheal you, if you will, to allow you to make some pretty crazy defensive stands and pushes, and the new battle point system. I think it adds a little bit of depth, depending on what's going on the battlefield at the moment as I get stuck here in the flag, or what you really need to make a stand or a push. There's lots of different options, and of course the battle point system. It rewards good gameplay and objective-based gameplay. No longer can you camp hero pickups to get your power-ups. You've got to work your butt off now, and you earn it. And again, the philosophy could be different. Do you get an inexpensive battle point upgrade and work your way up to a hero, or you just wait and buy the hero or maybe a hero ship depending on what map or mode that you're playing on. There's lots of different ways to do it, and of course those could turn the tide of the battle extremely quick, but you have to be careful with your timing based on who else has as many points as you, or who might have as many points. So you might be saving up for the Wookiee warrior, where you can have multiple of those, I believe, at the same time, or a hero, which you're only allowed one per team at the same time. Can't have multiple Rays running around, can you? So you do have to be careful with that. And that was an interesting change that they made. The heroes, once they take a certain amount of damage, cannot regenerate health. I believe the splits are 331 health and 181. Once they get to those points, they do not go up any further. They can't be healed by an officer. I think they can still be overbuffed a little bit, but they cannot bring that heal back up to the higher ranges which they start off with. Here you see a bit of a flame trooper here, where I kind of trying to figure out the range because it's the first time I grabbed it. And I've had mixed results with this. Sometimes I've walked into a hallway, killed 3 or 4 people. Other times like this, I get caught out of range as I buff my own player and did absolutely nothing. So back to the heroes with the health. The good news is this. No longer can you sit back and hover camp with somebody like Boba Fett because your health is not slowly coming back up. It gets to those states and just doesn't go any further. Not to mention, DICE has really tweaked the range on some of the abilities. Remember when Star Wars Battlefront 1 came out? I think I had a round where I went 80-0 with level cap Jack Frags and Matimio with Boba Fett. Well, that's more than likely not happening anymore because of the health situation. And of course, anything that goes boom seems to be toned down just a little bit since EA Play, or if you went hands-on at Gamescom, the wrist rockets were out of control, and anything else that could be fired from a jump pack and rocket seems to be toned down just a bit, so you really have to land very close to your target to get a killing blow, and the splash damage seems to be tweaked down a little bit. So what do you guys think of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 gameplay you've seen so far? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What do you think DICE needs to focus on? What changes would you like to see? What changes are you really happy about? As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys soon.